false service. Finally, the righteous works required of the adherents of Antichrist religion, as led by his high priest, the false prophet, will entail first and foremost participation in the satanic attempt at universal conversion to the beast. In addition to all the other depravities required of those who choose to serve the beast, this final crusade will involve the active destruction of the free will opportunities of others to choose for Christ, even to the point of betraying those they ought to love the most. Matthew 10:36. Great miracles. More persuasive than any of the lies the false prophet will spout will be the exceptional miracles he is permitted to perform in the name of the beast and in the power of the devil. Scripture is very clear here and elsewhere that these signs and wonders will be most impressive, deceiving those who live upon the earth. Verse 14. Compare 2 Thessalonians 2:9 and 10, and even capable of deceiving even the elect, if that were possible. Mark 13:22. In the production of these miraculous signs, once again, we see Satan's familiar pattern of aping the wonders of God, in order to appear a god in the eyes of the world. 2 Corinthians 11:14. Moreover, the specific false miracles given to the second beast to perform are particularly deceptive in that they so directly parallel demonstrations of genuine divine power. For Moses and Elijah, both historically and even more importantly during their recent return to earth, to direct the missionary activities of the 144,000, performed similar signs and miracles. Revelation 11:5. Just as Pharaoh's magicians Jannes and Jambres were able to produce counterfeit signs and miracles that nevertheless fell short of what God gave Moses to perform, Exodus 7:11 and 7:22, and just as the devil was able to manipulate the prehistoric creation and yet fell pitifully short of the power of God, so the false prophet's signs and miracles will in fact be pathetically lacking compared to true divine power. However, we must not underestimate the power of their persuasiveness upon the unbelieving world. As believers contemplating these events before the fact, we need to realize that these signs and wonders will appear to the human eye as indeed being the real thing, so that only through our understanding of the truth of Scripture will we be able to resist being impressed to the point of misguided belief as the rest of the world will be. Believers in Jesus, therefore, must take pains to remember at all times, and especially at that time, that what we know to be so from the Bible is always of much greater import than anything our eyes may happen to see. It is by faith in God's truth that we navigate this world, not by how we may feel or by what we may experience or by what our eyes behold, 2 Corinthians 4:18 and 5:7. However impressive and persuasive the signs and wonders we may see, the true test lies in whether or not those who perform them contradict the truth and seek to lead us astray. Deuteronomy 13:2-4. Commanding the inhabitants of the earth to make an image of the beast. The fact that the world's entire unbelieving population is included here as involved in the construction of the idol, the abomination which brings spiritual desolation, indicates that this statue will be of massive size and probably constructed of extremely valuable materials. Given the close relation between many aspects of this occurrence and Nebuchadnezzar's similar construction of the huge 90-foot-tall golden idol in the plains of Babylon, Daniel 3:1 and following, we would be justified in assuming that this statue is made of gold as well. We may posit that the false prophet in his role as high priest of the beast's religion will supervise a worldwide campaign of contributions for the construction, for this is most likely what is to be understood from the phrase, commanding the inhabitants of the earth to make an image of the beast. Once the idol is in place, the false prophet will animate it through satanic power. That is, verse 15, it was given to him to provide a spirit for the image of the beast so that the image might speak. This ability to animate a statue so large and impressively appointed will play no small role in the deception of the world, and we may anticipate that many who come to Jerusalem unconvinced will be awed into belief by this unprecedented sight. Compare Nebuchadnezzar's attempt to impart a similar sense of awe through ornate and extensive musical accompaniment, Daniel 3:5, 7, 10, and 15. And it was also given to him to bring it about, that as many as refused to worship the image of the beast might be put to death. It stands to reason that only those in the presence of the image of the beast can be put to the test as to whether or not they are willing to worship it. This verse indicates that all whose allegiance to Antichrist is suspect will be brought to Jerusalem and made to stand before the colossal idol, with those who refuse to give their obeisance in its presence being put immediately to death. The means of execution is not given, but it would certainly continue the parallel with Nebuchadnezzar's statue if the imminent demise for all who refuse was a horrifying death by fire in a furnace akin to that into which Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, were thrown upon their similar refusal. The terrifying sight of this monstrous animated colossus and the prospect of being cast alive into the flames for refusing to worship it will no doubt prove too much for anyone to bear, except for those who are solidly grounded in their faith in Jesus Christ and ready to follow him even unto a fiery death rather than prove unfaithful in this life. The mark of the beast, Revelation 13:16 and 17. And he, that is the false prophet, compelled everyone, small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to allow his clergy to place a mark on their right hand or on their forehead, so that no one would be able to buy or sell except those with the mark, consisting of either the name of the first beast or the number of his name. Revelation 13:16 and 17. We see again in these verses that the false prophet, Antichrist high priest, is responsible for the implementation of the policy regarding the mark. Several important points contained in this text need to be considered before proceeding to the discussion of the number of the beast in verse 18. The beast's universal religion results in universal compulsion to receive the mark. Whatever civil rights and benefits of citizenship obtain under Antichrist's worldwide state, we are right to expect that these will all be closely tied to membership and participation in his universal religion, because it is through this religion that his majesty will be worshipped and revered. Consequently, it should come as no surprise that at this juncture, the false prophet will administer the placement of a visible sign of obeisance upon all of the beast's followers with the objective of marking the entire world. Given the dire consequences the reception of this mark will have, we may posit that, in addition to true believers, there will be an indeterminate number of unbelievers who will avoid it as well. We should not, however, underestimate the short-term negative consequences which resisting this mark will entail. The placing of the mark is most likely carried out by the clergy of the beast's religion. Since Antichrist's religion is a purposefully syncretic mixture, all other religions distinguished mainly by its universal acknowledgement of the beast as God, we do not have to find in this policy of marking its adherents any fundamental reconstruction or reorganization of its parts. More than likely, the same priests, pastors, imams, etc. of all religions and cults previously co-opted into Antichrist's universal religion will be at the forefront of the process of marking all of the world's believers in Antichrist, and that this process will be essentially religious rather than civil in nature, though it will have definite civil consequences.